Thank you, Brandon. I love the movie.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Oh, God.
This is cool. It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. It's kind of crazy. You know?
I don't remember seeing this on the schedule.
Dive in, shall we? So I saw you posing in a photo with Mrs. Reynolds, and I'm sorry, what do you call her? Do you guys have a nickname or something? Okay, no, just so it's Mrs. Okay.
This text from Blake Lively is insane. If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play. It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. What?
It's a crazy text.
What are you insinuating? Like, is that a joke?
Yeah.
I was blown away reading it. I really was blown away, and honestly, weirded out. Weirded out. We're dealing with a weird on our hands because this is crazy.
And I'm really sorry. I f***ed up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail. I
had all the wardrobe set up in Manhattan. 15 minutes. And instead she said, no, I want the entire team to load all of this onto huge trucks and bring it to my apartment at considerable time and expense of all these professionals. And also it's just like, it's not even about...
Yes. Last weekend, 3 important women in Baldoni's life spoke out and really made statements about his character. Why is this important? I think this is really important because we've seen in the past, whether it's with Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer, these men are not supported by the women.
Looks like Blake Lively's plan just backfired big time. People are saying her case against Justin Baldoni just collapsed after his team dropped some shocking receipts, proof that Blake was actually the one cheating on Ryan Reynolds. Yep, you heard that right. Allegedly, Blake only started this whole mess as a last-ditch effort to save her marriage. Word on the street is that Ryan was the one pushing her to file the lawsuit. In fact, he's supposedly been the mastermind behind their PR team's efforts to spread dirt on Justin. But here's the twist. Most of the claims coming from Blake and Ryan's side barely relate to the case. Some are even being called outright lies.
I'm not getting beard on you today.
I'm probably getting spray tan on you.
It smells good.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
And they win. They won.
All right, cut.
I think we got plenty.
Yes, we do.
So, was Blake really the one sneaking around behind Ryan's back? Are they already making moves to call it quits? Let's get into it.
I saw this photo. It was very suggestive. So I got it right here. I'm gonna get right to it. How do you explain that? Is that genetics? You have some sort of like low-angle squat routine to pop that region in that way? I mean, what's going on here, man? Are you smuggling pumpkins? Got a couple of small pumpkins there? Jesus.
We stand in the presence of Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, rightful heir to the Iron Throne, rightful queen of the Andals and the First Men, protector of the Seven Kingdoms, the mother of dragons, the Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea.
I was lucky to be able to be involved in so many different aspects of this movie, not just on screen. On screen is the smallest amount of work that I did in this film, to be honest. And
I have absolutely no feelings about this guy, Justin Baldoni. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I reviewed some of his social media, and he seems kind of ridiculous with his toxic masculinity, lamentations, and so on. But that's fine. That's me. So I'm not on his side. But my point is simply, I just don't see it. In their incendiary complaint, where they're trying to do their best to bash him and the PR team, I don't see that the second loop closed of, and then here's where they did it. It's just all supposition. They don't have these great texts saying, look what I got placed in the New York Post.
Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively have been going at it for weeks now, and at this point, it's basically a competition to see who can expose the other the most. And honestly, Justin seems to be winning. He just dropped a 6-minute voice note he sent to Blake back when they were still working on the movie. It doesn't change everything, but it definitely adds some much-needed context about what was really happening between them. Now people are starting to think Blake might have caught feelings for Justin, but he wasn't interested. Classic case of falling for the wrong person, right? Like when someone gets too close to a co-star even though they definitely shouldn't. And apparently, Blake is seriously embarrassed about it. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds isn't sitting quietly. Word is, he's demanding answers because to him, it's obvious. His wife is in love with someone else, and that's how this whole mess started. But before we get any deeper, let's do a quick recap for anyone who's not up to speed on the legal drama. Everything kicked off on December 20th, 2024, when Blake Lively took legal action against Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, the company behind It Ends With Us, his publicist Jamie Heath, and Steve Sarowitz. In an 80-page lawsuit, she accused them of breaking her contract and making the work environment unbearable. She even claimed Justin and the studio were running a whole smear campaign against her. Then, just a day later, the New York Times dropped a bombshell article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine." The piece went all in on Justin and his team, accusing them of trying to silence Blake and make her look unstable so she couldn't speak out about her experience on set.
I was lucky to be able to be involved in so many different aspects of this movie, not just on screen. On screen is the smallest amount of work that I did in this film, to be honest. I took the relationships with my mother or my sisters or my children and my feelings, and I mean it's all over this film, and in ways that nobody will ever know, and I'll never tell anybody. But when I sit in that theater with my loved ones, they see themselves all over this film. Moments we've had together, things we've said to each other. And I think that's why I feel so proud, and it's so personal to me.
But Justin wasn't about to let that slide. He hit back with a massive $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, calling them out for supposedly running with Blake's one-sided story without checking the facts. According to Justin, the article copied her claims almost word for word while completely ignoring evidence that told a different story. And it didn't stop there. Justin came with receipts. He claimed Blake and the Times twisted text messages and emails by leaving out key details to make him look bad. Apparently, they even cropped out emojis and certain parts of the messages to fit their narrative. But the Times stood their ground, insisting that their reporting was solid and well-researched.
Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking War and Peace. And then she wanted to, ixnayed all of the wardrobe choices, because when you're making a movie about a poor woman who's suffering from domestic violence, you want her to look like she has money.
Right.
That Blake said.
That's what she did.
She looks like she has money.
Yep.
And she's dressing in florals. And then she's going on this press tour, pushing her liquor line
It's insane.
and her hair care line, because that's what women who are trying to escape with their lives are worried about.
That's what generated her negative press and led to a series of clips of her being insensitive in one way, shape, or form with other interviewers in the past. She has no one to blame but herself for that.
The press tour is part of that pay package.
Right.
You have to show up with a smile on your face and be polite to people who are not lobbing, difficult questions at you. They're softballs.
But Justin didn't just stop at suing the New York Times. He went all in, firing back at Blake and even pulling Ryan Reynolds into the drama. He hit them with a massive $400 million countersuit, accusing them of defamation and extortion. According to Justin, Blake completely made up stories to pin the blame on him when she started getting bad press. He also claimed that Blake and Ryan took over the movie's production and marketing, using the media to spread false accusations against him and others on the team. And speaking of Ryan Reynolds, word is he's been the mastermind behind the scenes, making sure the media paints Justin as the bad guy in Blake's lawsuit.
Wait, do you guys remember the interview that Ryan took over for It Ends With Us?
It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. It's kind of crazy.
I don't remember seeing this on the schedule.
Dive in, shall we? So I saw you posing in a photo with Mrs. Reynolds, and I'm sorry, what do you call her? Do you guys have a nickname or something? Okay, no, just so it's Mrs. Okay. Anyway, I saw this photo. It was pretty suggestive.
It looked like he was just trying to be funny, but now with everything coming out, people believe that maybe he was the one who was trying to hijack the whole entire movie, including the marketing. And then Candace Owens posted this on her story today, which is really making him look bad. She put this on her Instagram story, and she's basically saying that the true villain of this whole entire saga is Ryan Reynolds. And allegedly, the tip came from somebody who worked on the set with them. I mean, that's what we need. We need more people coming out and talking about what really happened. Now, if any of that is true, I just want to know what's going to happen to him when A Simple Favor 2 is released with that one. Guess what?
Blake even brought up an old text from August 2024, where Justin supposedly told his publicists that his business partner, Steve Sarowitz, wanted to change the narrative. The plan, to push a rumor that Ryan was involved in the script in a way that made him look anti-feminist.
She insisted that the costume department pack up wardrobe and deliver it to her personal residence. Her home was 15 minutes away from where they had all the wardrobe set up in Manhattan. 15 minutes. And instead she said, no, I want the entire team to load all of this onto huge trucks and bring it to my apartment. At considerable time and expense of all these professionals. And also it's just like, it's not even about money. It's rude. It's rude to these people.
It's 100% rude. Also, just to set the scene, everybody, when you go to a fitting, there are racks and racks and racks of clothing. Like, we're not just talking about one clothing rack and they're like, let's try this all on. We're talking about like 8 to 10 clothing racks of things that a stylist has sourced. And so it's a huge ask to have that literally shuttled to her apartment. It's the type of request that's so extreme that it's like, well, this would have had to have been in your contract at the beginning for us to do this for you. And also, if you want to be a producer, you want to make the film more efficient, you're going to help this film cross the finish line and be on budget. Why are you making it more expensive and less efficient?
But then Justin's team flipped the script. They dropped a 6-minute voice recording of Justin talking to Blake at around 2 a.m. At first, it just sounds like him apologizing for not taking her script suggestions as seriously as she wanted, but there's more to it than that.
Hey, Blake. It is 2 in the morning. Hopefully this does not wake you up. Whew. Wow. There's so much I want to say to you, and I hope that we can FaceTime or see each other in person soon and get to talk more. But I'm just going to send you a few thoughts, and hopefully it's not going to be more than a few minutes. But that I don't have the best track record. I don't think either one of us have the best track record for our voice memos. I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. And I'm really sorry. I for sure fell short. And you worked really hard on that. And the way you framed it and how that made you feel, I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me. That takes a lot of...
All right, let's rewind a bit for some context. Justin's voice note wasn't just random. He sent it after Blake basically threatened to bring out the big guns, her bestie Taylor Swift and her husband Ryan Reynolds. She even compared herself to Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, which if you've seen the show, you know means one thing: dragons. And Khaleesi's dragons? Yeah, they literally burn her enemies to the ground.
Now you see text messages in this lawsuit from Blake Lively comparing herself to the heroine of Game of Thrones, the fiercest female character we've seen in years, Khaleesi. That's her riding her dragon. She's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones. And that's what Blake Lively says in a text message, that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. That's, again, believed to be the other person. And that they are powerful advocates for her. And while it seems to be said like, I'm so lucky that I have them as great storytellers to help me rewrite the script, what Brian Friedman alleges is, you'll go along or I'll unleash my dragons on you, you loser.
So was Blake hinting that she'd use Ryan and Taylor to destroy Justin's career? Here's what she told him. She described herself as Khaleesi and said that, like the Game of Thrones character, she had dragons that protected her and the people she fought for. She even assured Justin that he would benefit from those gorgeous monsters of hers. Now, considering that Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds are two of the most famous and richest celebrities in Hollywood, people couldn't help but read between the lines. Even though Blake didn't straight up say it, many felt she was making it crystal clear. If Justin didn't go along with what she wanted, she had the power and connections to make him regret it. And that's exactly why Justin responded with that late-night voice note. In it, he told Blake it was 2 a.m. and hoped he wasn't waking her up. He admitted there was a lot he wanted to say and hoped they could talk on FaceTime or meet in person soon. He also joked about how neither of them had the best track record when it came to keeping their voice messages short. He begins by saying he felt terrible after reading the second part of Blake's message. He admitted he messed up and let her down. He recognized how much effort she put into her work and how his actions made her feel. He thanked her for being vulnerable enough to share that with him, which he saw as a sign of trust.
And I'm really sorry. I f***ed up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail. I am far from perfect. I am a very flawed man, as my wife will attest. And and I'm gonna f*** up. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth. I'm gonna piss you off, probably, but I will always apologize and find my way back to center. That is one thing I can assure you.
Justin didn't sugarcoat it. He owned up to his mistake. He acknowledged that he's not perfect, something his wife can definitely confirm. He said he messes up, says the wrong things, and probably makes people mad sometimes. But he promised that no matter what, he would always apologize and try to fix things. He made it clear he felt bad about the way things went down and vowed to do better next time.
We all didn't like the way this film was being marketed.
Yeah.
Okay. We all thought it was cringe. And Blake was in that video being rude to the reporter.
And also there was the video of her saying something about I think the reporter asked her, like, how can fans connect with you about this, with this character or something? And she's like, okay, do you want me to share my location or something? She's just very sarcastic and snarky and just didn't come across well.
I will just say this. It really reminds me of Housewives. A lot of times what they say is like, you can blame a bad edit. Like Blake's trying to blame this smear campaign.
Yeah.
But they can't show things you didn't say.
Correct.
And in a lot of these clips and like evidence of Blake being cringe and being rude, Blake did those things. And Blake did use the film as a moment to launch a hair care business.
Right.
And promoting her alcohol brand, Betty Buzz, it's just not a good look when you're promoting also a film about domestic violence.
Well, I think too, it was just a lot of like all about Blake, all about how this is how I styled it. This is my hair care line, my Betty Buzz, whatever. It was just a lot about her and how this was her vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people felt like it didn't land for people.
And when it came to Blake's friends, Justin had nothing but praise. He said if that's how she felt, then her friends were clearly awesome, and they deserved friends like that. He also mentioned how incredible her creative energy was, especially when she was around those two other talented people. He couldn't get over how great the three of them were together.
And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that. And we should all have friends like that, aside from the fact that they're two of the most creative people on the planet.
Here's where it gets interesting, though. Justin was definitely taking responsibility for his actions, apologizing to Blake for making her feel hurt, even though technically he didn't have to. After all, he was the director, and she was just an actress. He didn't have to take her script suggestions. But here's the thing people were picking up on. Justin kept talking about the chemistry between them, almost like he was trying to keep himself in check. He was careful not to sound disrespectful, but it was clear he was excited about their work together. In one part of his message, he even said, "It's really good, and it's going to make the movie sing. Like you said, I'm excited to go through the whole movie with you."
I just wanted you to know that I didn't need that because it's really good and it's going to make the movie sing like you said, and I'm excited to go through the whole movie with you. I'm just excited to spend time with you. I'm excited to be in your sphere and your presence and for us to share creative juices together, although that sounds terrible. I think you and I have been trying to build a relationship.
A lot of people started to think there was more going on between Justin and Blake than just a typical co-worker relationship. While it might not have been an affair, it definitely seemed like there was something extra going on behind the scenes. Now, the theory floating around online is that Blake caught serious feelings for Justin, like big time. When Ryan found out, Blake reportedly freaked out and turned the blame on Justin to cover her tracks. That could explain why Justin had no trouble shutting down some of the claims Blake made against him. Take, for example, Blake's accusation that Justin and his publicist, Jamie Heath, were invading her privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited, even when she was undressed, like when she was breastfeeding her baby. Justin didn't let that slide. In his countersuit, he called out that claim, saying Blake was actually the one who invited him into her trailer to run through their lines for the movie.
This is all BS. That I didn't harass her in any way, shape, or form. She tried to steal my movie from her. I bent over backward to accommodate her. Her alleged claims of sexual harassment are complete BS. Here's what really happened. Released their actual texts, putting things like, he watched me breastfeed naked in my trailer, in context when we saw text from her saying, I'm breastfeeding in my trailer, come on over. And they've gone tit for tat in the, nice pun right after the breastfeeding, ever since in the media. So this is just the latest salvo.
There was even a text exchange that backed up Justin's side. In it, Justin was sending Blake his condolences after hearing that she and her baby were sick. He wished them a speedy recovery and told her he'd do whatever he could to make their work easier. Blake replied, saying she'd gotten the latest script pages late the night before and was just pumping in my trailer if you want to work out our lines. Justin then messaged back saying, copy. Eating with Kroon, we'll head that way. There's also the part where Blake accused Justin of going off script in a pretty uncomfortable way. She said he brought up his past relationships and even added explicit scenes that weren't in the original script. According to Blake, Justin started improvising physical intimacy, like secretly biting and sucking on her lower lip during a scene, with no rehearsal, choreography, or intimacy coordinator involved. She claimed he kept insisting on doing the scene over and over, pushing boundaries beyond what's usually necessary on set, all without her consent.
I like sentimental Blake, and this prompts Lively to say, never met her. And when Baldoni teases her further saying, I also like a-hole Blake, Lively responds and jokes right back and says, I've met her, so have my suppositories. Now Baldoni argues that this playful banter exchange between two seasoned professionals suggests a level of comfort between them, that he says it makes it all.
But Justin fired back, saying Blake was the one who refused to work with the intimacy coordinator they had for those scenes. Instead, he was left to meet with the coordinator by himself and then tell Blake what they talked about. He even mentioned that, despite not being comfortable with it, both he and Blake would sometimes work through the scenes together without the intimacy coordinator. They'd talk about their characters and their personal experiences as part of shaping those moments.
You should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have.
Well,
thank goodness.
You were teaching Justin how to pull you in.
Where have you seen this?
That
I actually just saw it too. It was on Instagram yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, romance is really important. You're supposed to,
So it looks like Blake took something that was meant to help make filming those intimate scenes smoother and turned it into something bigger to go after Justin. And it doesn't end there. Blake also accused Justin of being inappropriate during a slow dance scene where she said he randomly told her, "It smells so good." This, of course, had nothing to do with the scene they were filming. Justin's team dropped some behind-the-scenes footage from the scene that Blake had complained about, and it definitely changes things up. In the video, you can see Justin did make that comment about smelling good, but it came right after Blake asked if her body tan was getting all over him. Honestly, the whole scene looked more like they were joking around and flirting, both kind of fishing for compliments from each other.
This text from Blake Lively is insane. If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play. It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. What?
It's a crazy text.
What are you insinuating? Like, is that a joke?
Yeah.
I was blown away reading it. I really was blown away, and honestly, weirded out. We're dealing with a weird on our hands because this is crazy.
But here's where it gets tricky. Some people think the footage proves Blake was just making things up, but others feel like Justin might actually be gaslighting Blake and everyone else. In the video, Blake keeps telling Justin they need to talk while they're dancing, but it seems like Justin is the one pushing for them to kiss and get all up in each other's personal space.
One of the key allegations in her complaint against Justin Baldoni was as follows, okay, from paragraph 48 of her complaint. She writes, on another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Ms. Lively out of character as himself. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells so good." None of this was remotely in character or based on any dialogue in the script, and nothing needed to be said because, again, there was no sound. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Ms. Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. When Ms. Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you." Well, guess what? TMZ has gotten its hands on that video, and you can hear Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni interacting as themselves, knowing that this is all on video and that this is going to be used to create this dance scene. And no such.
For some viewers, it looks like Blake wasn't comfortable with Justin being that touchy with her. It's not exactly a smoking gun, but it does make it seem more likely that Justin was pushing boundaries. At the same time, people are still raising eyebrows at Blake and Ryan because it seems like they're trying to shut Justin down by any means necessary.
Oh my gosh, we don't shut up.
And Emily and I have we have these moments where
Staring? You just stare.
Literally we've done it for 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. It's literally
You're talking about your spouses.
each other, and
When
time
I found a sociopath.
and time stops.
Yeah.
But that's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No, we're like, oh my god, there's not enough time.
And they score again.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, I forgot to tell you something else.
I think that's cute. You guys are really cute.
I think it's more than cute. Just some noses.
They're acting like lovers.
Noses.
And my nose is so big.
Yes. I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that. And then
Deal with your big nose.
Just kidding.
Okay, there. Okay, so he puts his head in her neck.
I'm not getting beard on you today.
And says, "Am I getting beard on you?"
It smells good.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
Right. And then says, "Smells good." And she says, "It's my body makeup." That's her big harassment moment. They are playfully acting for the camera, trying to make it look like two lovers, two people in a relationship are dancing with one another.
After Justin's team leaked that behind-the-scenes footage and the voice memo, Blake and Ryan moved to file a gag order on Justin and his lawyer, Brian Fredman. Neither Justin nor his lawyer commented on the gag order, but a source close to Justin said it was, in their words, grossly unfair to impose one after Justin had already been defamed by the New York Times, an article they say cost him 3 jobs and hundreds of millions of dollars. So, the gag order is basically a move to stop Justin from talking to the press or sharing anything about the case. A lot of people thought this was a bit suspicious. If you're really confident you're in the right, why be so worried about what the other side is saying to the media? Wouldn't you want the truth to come out for everyone to see? Something definitely feels off here.
There's these great Louboutins that are also a close-up on them when we're dancing in the bar. Those are mine. I have a few of my husband's shirts and socks randomly in the movie. I have some of Gigi Hadid's sweaters in the movie.
The chemistry with Justin also was off the charts. I mean, really, truly,
really important. You're supposed to, tell a story well and make people feel, but you're also supposed to do it in a way that.
One theory that's been going around is that Blake actually started this lawsuit to distract from all the negative attention she was getting after the movie dropped. People weren't happy when Blake started promoting her new hair care line and alcohol brand at the same time the film came out. The hair care line raised eyebrows, but promoting alcohol while being in a movie about domestic maltreatment, that one felt even weirder. Around that same time, some of Blake's past interviews resurfaced where she said some pretty cringeworthy and tone-deaf things, which just added fuel to the fire.
Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking War and Peace. And then she wanted to, ixnayed all of the wardrobe choices, because when you're making a movie about a poor woman who's suffering from domestic violence, you want her to look like she has money.
Right.
That Blake said.
That's what she did.
She looks like she has money.
Yep.
And she's dressing in florals. And then she's going on this press tour, pushing her liquor line and her hair care line, because that's what women who are trying to escape with their lives are worried about.
That's what generated her negative press and led to a series of clips of her being insensitive in one way, shape, or form with other interviewers in the past. She has no one to blame but herself for that.
The press tour is part of that pay package.
Right.
You have to show up with a smile on your face and be polite to people who are not lobbing, difficult questions at you. They're softballs.
Bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What is the next
What does
5
that
years
mean?
of... Well,
Did you
yeah.
see the movie?
I did see the movie. But I mean...
So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could,
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I'm gonna put it here because it doesn't go with my outfit, but I will wear it later.
Has been the best part in making this particular movie?
I've noticed so many beautiful crystals on teeth. Is that a big fashion thing?
What has been the best part about making this particular film?
I mean, about teeth gems. Yes, that was really the highlight. Why is Deadpool Wolverine sold out? I'm sorry, I got distracted back there.
Rings. Rings also are like my comfort blanket. It's just a very expensive comfort blanket. I should like Snuggies instead as a comfort blanket. Instead, I like Lorraine Schwartz.
This movie, I think that like when you see it, it feels like a big, beautiful summer movie, but like we didn't have any budget.
Fest is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out.
However, as we said before, a lot of people believe that all of this is coming from the fact that Blake caught feelings for Justin and didn't know how to handle her husband finding out. There's this video from the press run that has been going around where Blake gets all flustered when the interviewer asks her about teaching Justin how to be intimate with her. And of course, the internet's been buzzing with all sorts of comments and opinions about the case. Like, Lively isn't just a mean girl anymore, she's a supervillain, and Ryan and Taylor are her minions. That voice message is exactly why they thought he'd never fight back. He's so apologetic, it makes him seem spineless, but he's clearly not. This is honestly so sad. She took advantage of his kindness. He gave her an inch, she took 10 miles. Team Justin all the way without a doubt. Now it's your turn. Are you Team Justin or Team Blake? Or do you think Ryan Reynolds is the real villain here? Drop your comment below, and don't forget to check out our next video. And before you go, smash that like button and hit that subscribe so you don't miss any of the latest drama.